Okay, we're continuing with our final exam review, and now we're using template 1C. Okay, so we're up to factoring. In number 1, we can pull out a common factor, so I think that's what we're supposed to do here. We see a common factor of 5 in the coefficients. And let's see, let's take out the smallest power of x, so we can pull out an x to the 5th. And we can pull out a y cubed from both. All right, if we pull out factor 5 from 15, we're left with factor 3. We pulled out the x to the 5th. If we pull out y cubed from y to the 7th, we're left with y to the 4th. If we pull out factor 5, we're left with factor 5. If we pull out x to the 5th, we're left with x to the 1. And we pull out y cubed. All right, and that's it. This cannot be factored further, so it's factored completely. Here we have a quadratic, and we'll factor this using what we call reverse FOIL. All right, 3x squared, that comes from first times first, and that can be broken up as 3x times x. C is negative, that means our signs are different, so I'll start off with a plus minus. All right, we can factor 10 as 10 times 1 or 5 times 2, so let's start with 5 times 2, and we want to get that 13 in the middle. All right, so if I put the 5 here, I get a 15, which is close, and let's put the 2 over here, 5 times 2. Let's check the middle term. We have 2x. The middle term, 13x, comes from outer plus inner. So here we have 2x, and here we have minus 15x, which is minus 13x. Okay, so the sign is not right. That means we want to switch these signs, and once we do that, we'll have the right factorization. Okay, so the factorization is 3x minus 2, x plus 5. All right, here's another quadratic. This time, c is positive. All right, let's start with breaking up 2x squared. First times first is 2x squared, so that must be 2x times x. All right, now c is positive. That means our two signs are the same, and since this is negative, our two signs must be negative, minus, minus. And we'll factor 35 either as 35 times 1 or 7 times 5. I think 35 times 1 would make the middle term too big, so we'll go with 7 times 5. So we'll either put the 7 here and the 5 here, or the opposite. All right. Okay, so let's try 7, 5 like this. We have to check if the middle term is minus 19. Well, here we have minus 7x, and here we have minus 10x. Okay, that's minus 17x, so this is not the correct factorization. So let's try putting the 5 here and the 7 here. Okay, and now let's check that middle term. Okay, so here we have a minus 5x. Here we have minus 14x. And add those and we get a minus 19x. Okay, so that's correct, minus 19x, so this is our factorization. In question 4, see a common factor. First in the coefficients, we can pull out a 5. And then we can also pull out an x from both, so let's do that. So here we're left with x to the 6th. And here we're left with 9. Now, x to the 6th minus 9 can be factored further. It's actually a difference of 2 squares. 9 is a perfect square, 3 times 3, and x to the 6th is also a perfect square because 6 is even. X to the 6th is x cubed times x cubed. All right, if we just underneath write this as a difference of 2 cubes, it would be written like this. This is, sorry, a difference of 2 squares. It would be written like this. This is x cubed squared minus 3 squared. All right, so now let's factor that. Put down your 2 parentheses. And here we have x cubed plus 3 and x cubed minus 3. All right, so that's factored completely. In question 5, we have a difference of 2 cubes. Let's look at this. 27 is a perfect cube. That's 3 times 3 times 3, and here we have x cubed. 8 is also a perfect cube, 2 times 2 times 2. All right, so we're going to factor this as a difference of 2 cubes. First of all, let's write this as a cube minus a cube. So that would be 3x cubed minus 2 cubed. Okay. So we're going to put down our small set of parentheses and our big. In the small set, we put 3x minus 2. And in the big set, we start with, we square this. That would be 3x squared. That's 9x squared. And then the middle term is these two multiplied together. So that's plus 6x. And for the last term, we square the 2, plus 4. In number 6, we're asked to factor a polynomial that has 4 terms. And there's only one method we learned for that, and that is grouping. So we'll try that. We group together the first 2 terms and the last 2 terms and pull out a common factor. Okay, first from the first 2 terms, we can pull out 2 from the coefficient squared. All right, so here we're left with 3x plus 2. Okay, and now let's pull out from minus 15 and minus 10, we can pull out a minus 5. And that would be 3x. And pull out minus 5 from minus 10, and we're left with a plus 2. Again, check that, make sure it's right. Minus 15x, and then here we have minus 10x. Okay, so that's good. So it's good we're left with the same thing, 3x plus 2, 3x plus 2. So we're just going to pull out one copy of 3x plus 2, put that over here. Pull that out in front. And from the first group, we're left with 2x squared. And from the second group, we're left with minus 5.